Respected elders, dear younger ones, brothers and sisters in Islam, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mankind has been gifted, different to all other creations, we have been given also with this gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us. We have also been entitled with some responsibilities and duties. Other creations may not have the responsibilities and duties that we have. And therefore we will be questioned about our duties and responsibilities on this earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran states, وَقِفُوهُمْ إِنَّهُمْ مَسْئُولُونَ. Let them remain there, upright. One by one, every single one individual shall be questioned about their duties, about their responsibilities, about their rights. How have we taken care of our responsibilities? About the rights. And we mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned this a number of times, that there are rights between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The rights of Allah upon me, haqqullah. And there are rights between others with myself, between me and others, haqqun nas. And in the verse, Surah An-Nisa, ayah 36, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. Worship Allah and Allah alone. Serve Him alone. Obey Him alone. And do not associate any partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. After the command of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not associating any partners to Him, the next most duty upon every human individual, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. To be kind and good towards one's parents. That is one verse. Other verses you find, Luqman alayhi salam informs his son, Ya bunay la tushrik billah, O son, do not associate any partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ. And he reminds the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be good and kind towards your parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this so many times in the Quran. Or in another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes further than the amr, than the command of being good towards your parents. He says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained and decreed that you worship none other than Him. And He has ordained and decreed that you show goodness and kindness towards your parents. Meaning, it's an absolute order and command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Show love and kindness towards your parents. Number two, it's an absolute amr in the sense that I must show goodness towards my parents, whether they are near or far, whether they are alive or dead. Remain performing goodness towards your parents. Whether they are of my same faith, same religion or not, continue. Show goodness towards your parents. That's why you find after the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after this aqeedah, this point in theology and belief, the Imams of the Ahl Bayt and the Holy Prophet would remind that the most important duty that we all have is goodness and kindness towards the parents. And they mentioned the importance of the rewards for it. And they mentioned the importance of the goodness and benefits for you in this dunya and akhirah. And what great nights than these nights of the holy month of Ramadan to remind ourselves about the importance of duty, importance of the rights, and importance of the responsibilities we have towards our parents. Whether they're alive, may Allah give them long life, and we continue to be good towards them. And if they have passed away, does not mean that my duty towards my parents have ended. No. Many people became they became good of sons and daughters towards their parents, performing goodness after their parents passed away, with ihsan towards them, with goodness towards their parents. A man came to the Holy Prophet. He said, Ya Rasulullah, ma min amalin qabih illa waqad amaltu. Ya Rasulullah, of all the ugly sins, of all the haram sins, of all the disturbing sins, I've performed them all, nastajiru billah. Now I've come to you, Ya Rasulullah, wahalli min tawbah. Is there a form and source of emancipation of my sins? Ya Rasulullah, provide me a technique. What shall I do? He said, are your abawain, are your parents alive? Hay? He said, my father is alive, my mother has passed away. He said, immediately go and be good towards your father. For your goodness and ihsan towards your father shall be a source of tawbah, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepting your tawbah. And as that man walked away, the Holy Prophet said, لو كانت أمة. If only his mother was also alive, that source of emancipation would have been facilitated, in the sense that goodness towards both parents, goodness towards your father, goodness towards your mother. Sometimes we think goodness towards my father and goodness towards my mother is only on that one dedicated day. And I'm getting confused. In Canada, it's one day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. In the United Kingdom, it's a different day. In the Middle East, it's a different day. As if every day or every nation has its own Mother's Day or Father's Day. No, in Islam, every day is Mother's Day. Every day is Father's Day. Every day, ihsan and goodness towards your parents. That's why every single individual should try their best to be good towards their parents, to be kind towards their parents, to try their best to ensure that their parents are proud of them. There was a young man who was playing in his football team, and he wasn't the best player. And the coach would always put him on the sidelines, on the bench warmer they call them these days. And every time his father would come to the game and give him support, and give him support, and give him support, for years upon years. And it was the following week of the tournament. And this young boy, he received a message that today, sadly, your father has passed away. It was very sad, tears in his eyes. He informed the coach that my father's passed away, I need to go, give me a few days off. A few days passed. That young man came for the final match of the year. And he begged the teacher, he begged the coach, he begged him, oh manager, oh coach, can I play today? The coach said, throughout the year you've been not the best player. He said, still, if there is an opportunity for me to play, let me play today. They had the team sheet and that young boy was warming up. And then in the second half, through the insisting of the young boy, insisting towards the teacher, towards the trainer, towards the coach, he said, okay, you can go and play now. He played in the team and he gave his absolute best. The best performance ever. So much so that the coach was so impressed. He said, you played so amazing. Passing, dribbling, shooting, doing everything the best way. You have been playing like that in the last few months in the team that you've been in. You have been playing like this in the last few years. What's happened today? He looked at the coach. He said, Coach, for the last few years, my father used to come and watch. He used to come and give me support. He used to show so much love. And every time he wanted me to play my best. But oh, coach, did you know my father was blind? And he couldn't really see me. But now that he passed away, I know in the heavens, He is actually seeing me. And I wanted to show my best performance for him, to be proud of me, and to show that goodness in my sports game, in my game today, to show that, Father, now that you're here, now that you're seeing my match, let me show to you with the support and all the support you've given me that I want to show my ihsan and goodness here also for you to be proud of me. Sometimes goodness may be in just seeing our parents. Seeing our parents. The Holy Prophet would state that, for example, a person who looks at his parents with kindness, with rahmah, with ra'fa, for every nadra, for every look that he sees his parents with love and kindness, فَلَهُ حَجًّا مَبْرُورًا. He gains the thawab of a hajj, of an accepted maqboola, mabrura hajj, blessed hajj. So a man said, Ya Rasulullah, what if I look at my parents 100 times a day? 100 nadra in a day. Do I receive the thawab of 100 hajj? Many of us have been to hajj. Many of us yearn to go to hajj. We've been once to hajj, for example. Some have been 3 times to hajj. But how many people have been in their lifetime 100 times hajj? The Holy Prophet said, Na'am, wallahu akbar wa atyab. Yes, indeed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most great, shall reward you even for 100 looks at your beloved father, at your beloved mother. So much so that this love and kindness towards them has no excuse, mu'mineen, dear brothers and sisters. There is no excuse to ever say, I have stopped in my kindness towards my parents. We have a narration from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salatu wassalam. They state, ثلاث لم يجعل الله لهم رخصة. There are 3 moments that there is no rukhsa in it. There is no leeway in it. Who are they? Or what are they? He says, Ada'ul amana, to provide and take care of the amana. Whether the person giving you the amana birrain or fajrain. Whether they were bir or fajr. Whether they were good people or fajr, sinners, corrupt people. They've given an amana. You must take care of that trust, protect that trust. That's why we find that the Imams were known for the amana, taking care of the amana. The Holy Prophet was known as Al-Amin, the most trustworthy, number 1. Number 2, that which has no rukhsa in it. وَوَفَاء بِالْعَهْدِ وَالْوَفَاء بِالْعَهْدِ. And to be loyal towards the covenant and promise that you give. Birrain or fajrain. Bir or fajr. Whether that person who gives you a promise or you give a promise to them was a good person or a corrupt person, was a Muslim or a non-Muslim, you must awfu bil-uqud. You must adhere and try your best to take care of that promise that you gave them. Or don't say, I gave a promise to my young child, I was just a false promise. No, adhere to the promise that you gave. The promise to the elder, to promise to the younger, to promise to everyone. Wal ihsan, and goodness, bir lil walidain, whether they were fajr or bir, fajrain or bir. Being good and kind towards one parents, whether the parents were fajr, were sinners, were corrupt, or they were good people, individuals, we must continue to show kindness and goodness towards them. Hence you find Amir al-Mu'mineen wa Mawla al-Muttaqeen, he states, Birru aba'akum, يَبِرُّ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. O dear ones, be good and kind towards your parents. Tomorrow your children will be good and kind towards you. We've all heard the statement, what goes around, comes around. Ma tudinu, tudan. There's a very nice moving clip. It's an advert on TV and it's also on some of these social media channels. I advise myself and others to regularly see this. Parents, husband and wife, the son and the grandfather. The grandfather, who was elderly and weak, came to the table, the dining table, to have dinner. The son and the daughter-in-law and their grandson, the grandson of the grandfather. As they were going to have that dinner, the elderly grandfather was finding it difficult to eat. And after some time, the father of the young child told his own father, go sit in that table aside, and I have made some pots and plates and bowls for you on your own section. And the elderly grandfather went to that section and he started to eat on his own. The next day, when it was the time of the dining, for them to meet at the dining table, the young boy, the grandson, was seen making his own set of bowls and plates and cutlery. The father said, what is this? He said, Father, I'm making this for when you become of an elderly age, of an older age, for you to have something like that, like the same way that you prepared for the granddad, for my granddad. Immediately the father woke up from that statement and told his father, come back, father, come back. And the statement says, the caption says, your parents did not get tired taking care of you when you were younger. So don't think of it being a troublesome moment for you to take care and be good towards them when they are of elderly age. Man came to the sixth Imam. He said, Ya ibn Rasulillah, my father has become of an elderly age, so much so that I have to feed him, so much so that I have to clothe him, and so much so that I have to sometimes carry him and take him to the bathroom and for him to enter for his own needs. Ya ibn Rasulillah, what should I do? Should I continue to take care of him? Imam said, the sixth Imam says, continue to perform such and take care of your father. وَلَقِّمْهُ بِيَدِكَ, and feed him, luqma upon luqma, feeding upon feeding with your own two hands. And this shall be a Jannah for you. This shall be a source of Jannah and paradise for you. This ihsan towards your parents. And no doubt, however much I try to be good towards my father and my mother, I'll never be able to return the great ihsan they showed towards me when I was younger. That's why our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, he reminds us of the rights of the father. That a child or a son or a daughter should never ever yusammi, should never ever name their father, call out their father by their first name. Sometimes you find some places, some cultures, some etiquettes of some parts of the world. One son calls his father, Homer, come here. What are you having for breakfast? What are you having for supper? And this is being instilled in our young sons and daughters. That is fine. You don't need to say Baba. You don't need to say Habibi. You don't need to say Abata. All you need to say is just say his first name or anything like that. No, this is not the etiquette. You find in Hadith al-Kisa, when Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein would come towards the home, they would call out, Ummah, my beloved mother. Oh, flower of our eyes. Oh, light of our eyes. Oh, beloved one. When they see their father, Ya qurrata aini, Ya thamarata fuadi. The love, the reciprocal love between the father, the son, the father, the son, and the mother, and the young Ahlul Bayt, and with their grandfather. And secondly, he says that when the right of the son, daughter towards their father, that وَلَا يَمْشِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ, that son, that child should have that respect towards the father, that when the father's walking, the father knows that when he's walking, the son walks for a few steps behind, a few steps to the side. Should not be disrespectful in his meshi, disrespectful in his walking ahead of the father, for example, ignoring the father, not taking care of the father, not respecting the respect that one needs to give towards a elder of the community, an elder in the town, in the city, an elder. Also, the son and daughter should be so respectful in every forms of life that they should be not a source of what? Of an insult towards their father. Sometimes you find some children, some young ones, they are a source of honor, of fakhr, that when you see them may say, Rahimallah abak, may Allah bless your father, that he had such a tarbiyah towards you. He gave you such an upbringing. He took care of the son, took care of the daughter. He taught you Quran. He taught you the ahadith. He taught you the tarbiyah, the culture. He taught you everything, the true teachings. But sometimes you see some sons and daughters and you see them saying, where's the father? Where is the tarbiyah? What happened to the father's tarbiyah towards the son and daughter? And this is something that we need to remember, the importance of our sons and daughters having the great akhlaq, that we have that responsibility that when they see us, they remind themselves of our fathers, of our sons, and our sons would remind ourselves of our fathers, of ourselves. The parents here need to know that their sons are a source of honor for them. That's why Imam Zayn al-Abidin would say that as the haqq of the father, the right of the father is for a person to know that the father is the asl, is the origin, is the root, and we are the far'. We are the what? The branches. And any goodness from me, I should thank my father for. It is my father who was the one who instilled that blessing within me. He was the originator. وَلَوْلَاهُ, and if he wasn't there, لَمْ تَكُنْ, you wouldn't come to existence. And thank your Lord, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this blessing, for this ni'mah of your father. Take care of the rights and responsibilities and duties towards one's father. And you find this in the life of the Ahlul Bayt. You find this in the life of the prophets of Allah. You find this in, for example, Prophet Ismail and his father, Prophet Ibrahim. When Prophet Ibrahim has a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, an amr from Allah, and he asks and informs Prophet Ismail, his son, what do you think of the command of Allah? Immediately his son says, Ya abati fa'al ma tu'mar. Oh father, you perform as you have been ordered. Satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin. You shall see that your son would be one of the patient ones, patience in the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or Luqman with his son, one of the Luqman the wise, with his son, that his son would listen and adhere to the teachings of his father. Sometimes a father wants to give an advice towards his son, the son is running away. The son is running away, not listening to the great experience, the great tajrubah, the great khibra, the great lessons that the father has in life. That's why Amir al-Mu'minin, you find, he would sit down with his sons, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein. He would state to them, for example, Ya bunay, awwid lisanak husn al-kalam. Ya bunay, accustom your tongue to speak nicely. Oh beloved son, oh beloved one. And he would sit down with them and they would listen and adhere to the teachings of their father. Or you find, for example, in these days and nights, we are remembering Abu Talib, the uncle of Rasulullah, the father of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen, who had so much love towards his father, so much love towards the one who took care of him at a young age, took care of his sons, Ja'far, Aqil, all of these, salamullah alayhim. They were the ones who had the great tarbiyah of Abu Talib. Abu Talib, who presented Amir al-Mu'mineen to Rasulullah, and he knew the great kindness and the great respect and the great love of Rasulullah towards his cousin Ali ibn Abi Talib, would give him the best love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abu Talib, the father of Talib alayhimus salam, he had so much love towards Rasulullah that he protected Rasulullah, he defended Rasulullah. He was the one who was firm on the faith, Mu'min Quraysh, or Sayyid al-Batha. He was the one who would show love towards his beloved nephew Rasulullah. When they asked Abu Talib, they came to Abu Talib and said, "Oh Abu Talib, you are the elder of the qawm, of the tribe. Tell your nephew to stop teaching what he is teaching, to stop inviting the people of ours towards Islam, towards the faith, towards God, towards La ilaha illallah." Did Abu Talib stop Rasulullah from that? No. In fact, he encouraged Rasulullah to be on the teachings of Tawheed, on the teachings of La ilaha illallah. That love that Amir al-Mu'mineen had towards his beloved father Abu Talib, that we remember these days and nights. That love towards Abu Talib that Rasulullah had, so much so that when Rasulullah heard the sad news and grief of Abu Talib and his wife Sayyidah Khadija, he changed the name of the whole year and he called it the year Amul Huzn, the year of grief. A love between a son and towards their father that is aware of the rights of the father. And a love like no other we can see on the day of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, on the day of Ashura. The love like no other is that love of Ali al-Akbar towards his father Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Ya Abata, my beloved father, the sun's heat is making me thirsty and thirsty. Ya Abata, I'm entering the battlefield, but oh father, oh Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, I am dying of thirst. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein informs his son, Bunay Ali al-Akbar, continue to perform what you are performing, for I shall give you the guarantee that Rasulullah shall quench your thirst in Jannah. That love between a son and a father, that as he makes his steps towards the Taf of Karbala, Abu Abdullah فَنَظَرَ إِلَيْهِ, he looked at his beloved son. Why does he look at his beloved son? Because only a father knows how difficult it is for the son to depart from his beloved eyes. For he looked at him, نظرة آيس, in that sense, looking at him that he knows that Ali al-Akbar would no longer return, that Ali al-Akbar would go towards Jannah, towards that path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the love of of a son towards a father, the respect and goodness towards the father, and the love that Abu Abdullah, a father, had towards their son. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to always be birr and good and kindness towards our parents, towards our father, towards our mother. And we ask them to pray for us. For the hadith states, Du'a'ul walid liwaladih mustajab. The dua of a father, the dua of a mother for their son, for their daughter is mustajab.